Hello art friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little different. I'm taking you on an exclusive tour of my Sketchbook Curiosity Challenge, which was done in June for 25 days. Each day I shared a video with an assignment on my Instagram page. For this challenge I took a completely new sketchbook and made a title for the challenge in the first opening page. Wrote date, name of the challenge. I will add my name and my email address in case the sketchbook can get lost and Finder can let me know about its whereabouts. First day of the challenge was a bit rusty and nerve-wracking. I decided to start with something easy and accessible. First day was about color and watercolor mixes. Throughout this challenge, I used my watercolor set, which is especially easy when going to paint somewhere else rather than in the studio. With metallic clip, I can attach it to my sketchbook and use it. For this day, I picked spring iris flower and mixed watercolors by comparing. Day 2 was about volume, how to get your subject look realistic on a flat surface like paper. I picked a peony bud, which is a round subject, and showed all tonal values in order to make it look round. With each new day, I felt more freer in expressing my creativity. And it wasn't just about painting techniques. I also wanted to discover some interesting facts about plants, like here the spring iris with its intricate details when closed up. This page I wrote about ants and their attraction to sweet nectar. I noticed that in springtime, when peonies are still closed, there are lots of ants. For many years I thought that they are somehow damaging flower, but in reality they are not. They are just attracted to peony nectar. Day 3 was about worm and how to sketch it freehand. Painted an enlarged lesser stag beetle, wrote watercolor mixes, and did some botanical study on this bug. Day 4, graphite study. Pick any subject, turn the reference photo black and white and do the graphite study. After finishing graphite study, I apply fixative to seal the graphite drawing so it's not smudging and making other page dirty. Stays completely clean and no graphite mess around. Day 5 was dedicated to light and how important it is in our realistic watercolor painting, and some extra study of magnolia flower with graphite pencils. Day 6, shadow. Here I left a little piece of paper of most common mistake how I see students are separating petals one from each other, and here is my painting of a quick study peony flower head. Day 7, tonal values. For this day, I have a wonderful visual example to explain tonal values. Simple white paper strip, divided into sections. Here this paper strip is bented and has 3D form. We can clearly see how each section is becoming darker where the form has a curve, from lighter and slowly through halftones to the shadow. If I lay it flat, all sections are completely white. As I bend it, we can clearly see tonal values. That's how we can make something look three-dimensional on a flat surface with these different tonal values. In order to make something look three-dimensional, we need to have light, halftones, shadow, and reflected light areas. Flat, all tonal values are the same. So here I also have in my sketchbook different tonal value sections and the basic form of pear showing tonal values and a study of a dandelion leaf. Day 8, leaf veins. Here an assignment was to pick any leaf, make a photo, enlarge it and paint it to study how veins are formed, how they are moving across the leaf. Notice these things. I also did an extra page about venation, different type of venations of leaves, and did a drawing of them. Day 9, petal veins. Yes, also petals have veins and we need to know how to show them. Wrote a poem to fill this page with something interesting, put down watercolor mixes and pigments that I used. Day 10, different textures that can be achieved with different brush strokes. Using my finer tip brush, I did 9 different brush strokes to achieve different textures for your subject. For this day, I painted a hairy butterfly to show how these textures can be applied with painting hairs. Day 11, transparent layers. In realistic watercolor painting, it's important to paint with transparent layers. Watercolor is a transparent medium, and we need to use it in order to make something look lifelike, realistic, and bright. I'm not achieving dark layers with saturated watercolors. Instead, I am painting many layers of transparent watercolors to get this rich look of the subject. In this example, I applied 10 identical watercolor layers, one on each other, and as you can see, the top part is the darkest one. That's where all 10 layers are combined together. Day 12, stippling. That was a fun day. I did a rose in stippling method and also a rectangle with gradual transitions from the shadow to the lightest part. Using 0.1 marker, I did the stippling. It also is a great practice to see tonal values and how to achieve something realistic. Day 13, multiple colored subject. I picked parrot tulip petals and did 3 different angle studies and added a poem to make this page more beautiful. Day 14 was about edges, how important to make petal edges more neat and accurate. This page I found is a bit too empty, added a flower name and also pigments that I used, pigment names also. You can embellish your sketchbook page as you like. Day 15, brush strokes. This page is dedicated for different type of brush strokes, different directions, up and down, longer, shorter. I have a whole YouTube video on this subject. I will link here so you can see and practice for yourself. Day 16, loose painting. And why do we need loose painting in realistic watercolor painting? This is great especially for quick sketches. If you have an idea or you want to write down watercolor mixes when you are somewhere outside, you can do a quick loose painting and write down watercolor mixes that you used, write down notes, watercolor mix recipes. This is an amazing practice to try. Day 17, detailing. I choose the poppy flower, wrote down pigment names, watercolor mixes, and some scientific facts about poppies. Here I tried new approach of achieving hairs on poppy flower. I used a divider tool, or you can use an embossing tool, but be sure that it's super sharp. I first applied little hairs on a blank paper with divider or embossing tool. Then I went over with pencils, green pencils. I toned down the green part of this poppy flower and then went over with watercolors between each little hair. Day 18, cold or hot pressed paper. I got so many questions which paper is better. I tried them both, wrote down the descriptions about each paper, tested identical paintings on each paper. I really encourage you to try both paper so you know which suits for you. Day 19, botanical accuracy. I chose wild strawberry from forest, wrote down pigment, watercolor recipes, and did a detailed painting of a wild strawberry. Still, this is a sketchbook. I didn't went too detailed and too realistic because this is a sketchbook, not a professional watercolor paper. Day 20, dark subject. Dark subject is also a story about transparent layers. It only depends how many layers you apply in order to make something look dark. Here again you can see identical layers of watercolors, but in the middle they go much darker. That's because there are transparent layers applied one on each other. And that's how I got rich looking paintings with watercolors. Day 21, lifting watercolors. Here in this short Instagram video, I showed my technique of how I get some areas lifted from paper while the surface is still wet while I'm painting watercolor painting. This is commonly used for veins, light areas, some spots. Day 22, spots. What you see first in your reference is almost always painted the last. First, I'm building background layers of this flower or any other subject, and only at the finishing part I start to add spots as a final details. Day 23, white subject. Can we get white flower on a white paper without any white pigment? Yes, we can. I'm painting only shadow and halftones, constantly checking in the reference where are some spots, darker areas. I'm not even looking at white areas. White areas will appear as I build contrast around it. Day 24 was a bigger composition, how to approach it, how to start it, and in a sketchbook it's a wonderful place where you can test your bigger composition. Here I did a loose bigger composition study of rose and sweet pea flowers. Did little thumbnails to arrange and think about my composition, added pigments, and did quite a quick and loose sketch. And day 25 was about enjoying the process, going through those pages, adding some notes, maybe new paintings, some extra watercolor mixes that you remember, anything that keeps your artistic soul nourished. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share with your fellow art friends, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update from our art community. Keep your brushes moving, your colors flowing, and remember, each brushstroke is a step forward in your artistic journey. Thank you and see you in my next tutorials. Bye bye!